Well, good morning and good evening to everybody, or good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. We do welcome you to our presentation today, our webinar of sharing insights on Basis Bilingual School, Guangming Shenzhen. We do welcome you to our presentation and happy to have you here with us. We're really excited to share insights today on our newest school that we'll be joining. Today, presenting at our webinar will be myself. I'm Tim Smith, Vice President of Global Talent for Basis International Schools. And today I'll be joined by Mark DeFabio, who's the founding head of school at Basis Bilingual School, Guangming Shenzhen, has been with us for a little bit. We'll save details of the intro for Mark in just a little bit. I'm also joined today by Leila Oskui, who is the International Recruitment Team Lead for Basis International Schools. Today, we'll be covering some of the details about our newest school. We'll also talk about insights on the network of Basis International and Bilingual Schools, what it's like to work with the network. We'll speak to some of the benefits, the expat package that is part of the offering of employment with our organization, as well as some of the requirements, both for visas, as well as what is important to be aware of relative to requirements that we do have and we look for in individuals teaching with us. Lastly, at the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session where we'll be able to answer questions that you might have. If you have any questions at any time throughout the presentation, go ahead and use the Q&A functionality. It will be at in the menu at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Just go ahead and key your question in there. At the end of the presentation, we'll be answering questions that you do put in there. In some cases, we may be able to answer you directly if it's a little bit more of a specific question to your individual situation, or if something that's a little bit more general that would be a fit for other individuals interested in opportunities with Basis International and Bilingual Schools. We'll be able to present the details of the answer to that question in general to all participants. So we do, again, appreciate you participating today. It is my pleasure to be able to introduce our webinar. Basis Bilingual School, Guangming Shenzhen is the newest addition to the Basis International Schools network. Beautiful school. It's a brand new school that will be opening up in the Shenzhen area. And today, speaking a little bit more to the details, will be Mark DeFabio. So Mark, we welcome you and appreciate you joining us today. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce Mark. Mark is the founding head of school for Basis Bilingual School, Guangming in Shenzhen. Mark's been with us for a bit. He's currently functioning as a chief instructional officer across the network of schools we do have in China. So Mark, welcome to the presentation. We're really excited to hear more details about your new school that we're opening and looking forward to hearing your insights today.
Thank you very much, Tim. And as Tim said, I'm the founding head of school of Basis Guangming. I've been with the network. This is my third year. And just to share a little bit about my background, I grew up in Western Massachusetts in a very small rural area. I think we had about 1,200 people in my hometown when everybody was home. And I went to college in Boston, then furthered my studies in Rome, Italy, where I lived and studied for 5 years. Then I moved back to the United States and taught in a couple different prep schools in the New England area. And I was asked to move into administration, went on and got my doctorate in educational leadership at Boston College. And when I was at a couple of the last two schools, prep schools in the Boston area, I started international student programs there. And I would go over to China and interview students and recruit them for my schools. And I would go over on trips maybe 3 times a year for a couple of years. And I kind of got bit by the Chinese bug, if you will, as I looked at where those next steps would be for me professionally and career-wise. I really thought that China would be a good place for me to continue to learn and grow. And so I started my own educational consulting business in Asia, but mostly China. And I would advise investor groups how to start, develop, and manage Western-style education programs. And Then through numerous contacts in basis, I was asked to come on board in July 2021 as vice head of school and head of middle school at our international school in Hangzhou. And it was a great time to come back to China. It was a great place to learn. And then last year, I was asked to become head of and then last year, I was asked to move into the chief instructional officer role in preparation to become the founding head of school of the Basis Bilingual Guangming School. And so I've been doing that this year, kind of in the transition from being chief instructional officer, where I travel around to different schools and help the head of schools and the school management team there with different things that are going on. A lot of teacher coaching and things like that. And now we are full bore on board, getting Guangming up and going, which is pretty exciting. That's a little bit about me personally and professionally. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about why basis. There are a lot of international schools and school networks and bilingual school networks in China right now. A lot of our highly proficient expat teachers have a lot of choices. Personally, I want a place where I can learn and grow professionally. And I really believe that Basis China is right now the best positioned network in China for someone to really set down some roots, have a stable school environment, and be able to grow. In the midst of COVID, a lot of international schools and bilingual schools, or schools with international components to it, really suffered. They weren't managed very well. They weren't resourced well. They didn't have a strong network. And a lot of them are closing down or shrinking. And Basis is really doing the opposite. Because we have a very strong investor group, we have a very strong board, we have an extremely strong network. We actually came out of the pandemic stronger. And we opened one school in Chengdu in the midst of the pandemic. We just opened another school in Wuhan right after the pandemic. And then my school will be the one that will open in 2024. So we're a very strong organization of schools. And if you're looking, kind of the next stop in your career, if you will, I think it's tough to beat the Basis China network. We have a great strategy, we have a great plan, and we continue to move forward and grow. And to be part of that is really exciting. Then, why China? China is a pretty exciting place to be. It's always growing. It's a very safe place, particularly to raise a family. You can walk around almost any city at, late at night or early in the morning. There are people walking around. It's very safe. It's, in Shenzhen itself, it's a very modern city. It's often referred to as China's newest city. And geographically, it's a great place to live, especially if you like the warmer climates. You're by bullet train, a 14-minute train ride station to Hong Kong. And, if you want to travel within Asia, it's really very centrally located. It's a couple-hour flight to Japan. It's a couple hours flight to Bangkok or to Cambodia. It's very centrally located, and it's a great place to raise a family and also to take that next step in your career. And then specifically of Guangming, we are on the northern edge of the city. So there's like a 5-minute walk to the nearest metro station, and you can hop the metro and be downtown if you want to go in on a Saturday or Friday night to have dinner at one of the many Western restaurants like in the Shekou and Seaport area of the city, but also right in our back door, right on the, within view of the school, there are mountains. So all of that is very centrally located in Guangming, which is pretty exciting. And also with Shenzhen, it's a very international city, very international. So there's a large expat community. If you want Western restaurants, Western brands, many people will speak English if you're trying to make your way around town. And if you're like me, your Mandarin might not be where it should be, or where it could be if I was more diligent with practicing my Mandarin. It's very easy to get around. And these are some slides of our campus. I was just there Monday, so these slides are me on site Monday. I get out there usually about once a week just to check on the progress. The slide kind of in the center bottom with the excavator in there, that will be our gym, and off to the right-hand side there is our swimming pool. Then in the upper right-hand corner, that's going to be our theater. The campus is really going to be an amazing state-of-the-art cutting-edge campus. And if you saw from some of the renderings that are posted, it's going to be very bright, very open, very airy. Yeah, as you can see there, lots of gardens and a lot of space for the kids to be kids and run around and play. And all those facilities are also open to us as teachers. They want us there using the facilities and being part of the local community. Also, you can see on the kind of on the top of that screen, there's a tower. That's an 11-story facility for teacher housing. We will have studio apartments, one bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom apartments on campus for us. It's definitely our preference for you to be on campus. And there's also will be housing provided, like if you have a pet or something like that, and you live off campus, the rates for the rental stipends will be very competitive with what a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom would be in the local community. Okay, yeah, just a little bit of difference between the bilingual schools and the international schools. BASIS has both, and those of you who have taught in China before, this might be a little familiar to you, or if you've been looking at China, you might have heard these terms. Basically, the difference with the bilingual school is you have to have a local passport, which all of our students do, and we do the BASIS curriculum, and on top of that, we fold in the Chinese national curriculum. And our BASIS international curriculum addresses 95% of what the Chinese national curriculum requires. There are a few differences. For example, on the bilingual side, we need more PE time. Some of the middle school sciences, a slightly different sequence, but 95% of it is the same. And if you're an expat teacher and we hire you to teach biology in middle school, you're going to be teaching biology in middle school. On the international side, all of our students will have a international passport. They're, local Chinese students who usually have a foreign passport in addition to their Chinese passport. So those are the basic differences. In actuality, for an expat teacher, there's going to be very, very few differences that you would come across in your daily life as a teacher at BASIS Guangming. Yeah, these are just some pictures of Shenzhen. As you can see, Shenzhen is a very modern city. The picture of the boat in the bottom left-hand corner, that's in the seaport area, or the SeaWorld, I'm sorry, the SeaWorld area of Shenzhen. I know the first time that I went there a couple of years ago, people said, "Oh, you got to check out the SeaWorld area." I was looking for an aquarium, just kind of thinking of SeaWorld in the U.S., but it's a wonderful area on the bay. You can look across the bay and see Hong Kong, and there, there are a lot of restaurants and pubs that you can go to and, have a great meal and just walk around. Yep, some more sights of the city. As you can see, if you've never been to China before, China loves to have parks in their cities. So even in the heart of a city, in Shenzhen, I think right now is between 20 and 25 million people. There are a lot of green spaces. There are a lot of very well-maintained and safe places to go. You can walk around a lot of the parks in any city in China, any time of the day or night, for exercise or just hear the birds and, walk around in the grass. And it's going to be very, very safe. Teaching at a basis bilingual or international school is a tremendous amount of fun and a tremendously rewarding professional experience. We want teachers who love to teach. We want teachers who want to be part of a network of schools and an individual school within that network who want to learn and grow. We want teachers who, particularly with Guangming, want to be part of a founding faculty. Somebody asked me, what's it like to be founding head of school? It's pretty exciting and it's a little daunting, but it's fun. We will be part of a group of professionals who will come on board and have the opportunity to shape the program there and children's lives for years to come. For me, that's about as exciting as it gets as a teacher and as a school manager and administrator. It's a tremendously fun and exciting thing. So if you want to be part of that, if you want to learn and grow, to be challenged, to be constantly focused on trying to get better, I would love to talk with you. Those are the types of the teachers who we want. We talk a lot at Basis about rigor. Rigor for us is not more work, harder work. It's not, making our teachers jump through hoops that are kind of senseless and crazy. Rigor for us is a constant focus on making sure that we provide the best experience for our students every day. And we really live that. It's right in our mission statement. We are highly teacher focused, and we are highly focused on teachers who are striving to get better. Part of the benefit of being part of a network is you don't have to do things alone. We have, I think we're at 10 or 11 schools at this point. We have great resources on the network level, from everything from healthcare to individual pacing guides for your, 8th grade algebra class. You have great autonomy within your individual classroom, and you have tremendous resources at your immediate disposal.
Well, Mark, I think that kind of brings us to some of the main pieces of what we're speaking to. One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is, given the fact that this is a new school, what are some things that will be really important to you in terms of the teachers? Because one of the things that we see in many of the schools we'll open the school, but the next year it grows so fast that it's almost like a whole different school. We open up with, X number, so many hundreds of students, and then it's almost twice that the second year. So can you kind of walk through what some of the plans are in terms of the growth of the school, and as a result, what it is that will be really important in terms of the teachers that are coming in to this particular school, it being a new school?
Yeah, great question, Tim. Right now, our projected enrollment is about 470 students. And when the school is full, we should be around 1,500 students in early childhood, primary, middle, and high school. And, our schools grow pretty rapidly because we have a very, very strong, in China, they call it a brand. The Basis brand in Shenzhen is particularly strong. we are already starting with admissions. I had an admissions meeting yesterday. We have an event here. I'm at our bilingual campus in Shenzhen, and we have over 100 parents already registered. We already have 27 students for whom we have deposits. So, you know, sometimes in China, people are a little worried, will this school actually get built? You know, I've been doing the China thing for a while. I know there, you know, some organizations will hire you and you get there and the school's not there. That's not us. You know, it's up and going, and it's much further along than our last two schools have been. So what type of teachers are we looking for? We're looking for teachers who might be a little crazy, a little that take that excitement to start a new school, and will you know, really thrive on that.
Yeah.
And we also need teachers who are going to be flexible, as highly planned and calculated, and you know, as many dry runs as we do with things in opening a new school. There are going to be things that just happen that we weren't anticipating. And I've been part of 2 school openings in preparation for our school opening. And you can troubleshoot all you want, but you know, in the end, we need to be flexible and to be able to be okay with that. So, you know, and then the other thing is being open to that growth. You know, that we're opening the first year with 2 sections of just about every grade. That's the plan. So, you know, the first year you might have a very light schedule, you know, which you might like. Hopefully, you know, the following year you'll be a lot busier. But, you know, we have very, very reasonable guidelines with our teaching faculty, and we treat you very well. So that, you know, basically for the teachers we're looking for, we want teachers who are excited about being part of a new school, who are willing and happy to embrace that excitement, and to be flexible, because there are going to be some hiccups along the way with opening a new school, and that's just going to be part of the fun. Call it the bonding experience. So,
Yeah, that's one of the things a lot of our founding faculty members really speak to, is being a part of really establishing a new culture, new practices, setting that up and getting students really excited about their future in a new environment. And really being a part of that is something that is extremely unique, especially as you mentioned, you're being a part of a you know, a very a stable, a very reputable, strong network. You have kind of best of both worlds, you know, strength and stability, as well as, you know, the excitement of something new and growing, and you can really kind of you know, put footprints on something that's you know, just brand new from the start. So really exciting. Love that you kind of talked about, you know, some of the flexibility that people will need, because it will be kind of almost a different school year 2 as compared to what it is year 1, both in terms of, you know, you have practices and processes down, but it's now also a much larger organization. There'll be new colleagues, new students coming in. So really a lot of excitement, enthusiasm. One of the things we hear about Shenzhen in particular is it's one of the most expat friendly cities in all of China. And that's something that, as I've been there, I've certainly experienced that as well. You're right across from Hong Kong, as you mentioned, easy access to all areas throughout Southeast Asia. The weather is nice. If you like the warm weather. Yeah, great place to be in terms of, you know, as an expat living in China, someone that's very expat friendly. Is that something you kind of found yourself as well?
yeah, absolutely. And I've traveled extensively in China over the years, and I used to live in Hangzhou. I used to live in a suburb of Hangzhou. I've spent extensive time in Beijing and Shanghai. Shenzhen is by far my favorite city. It's super easy to get around. You know, an app on your phone, and you never have to carry cash. You just get on the metro. You know, you can travel all around the place. The metro is super inexpensive, and you can go anywhere you want in the city. And it's really easy to get around. And if you want to be kind of 100% in China, if you will, you can very easily do that. But then it's like, I just really need a good pizza. There are two places here that I go to probably too frequently, that has, by far the best pizza I've had in China and better than most pizza I've had in the US. There's German restaurants, there are Italian restaurants, there are American restaurants. There's a couple barbecue places that are pretty good. If you're from Texas, you might have some, or Memphis, you might dispute that, but if you just need some of that comfort food, and it's within walking distance or a quick metro or DD ride, and it's like, okay, all's right with the world, and I'm good for a couple more weeks. And so, I just signed a 5-year contract. I like China. I'm here for the long term. It's where I'm growing my career. And sometimes you just want a pizza or you just want a burger. And that's okay. And in Shenzhen, you have multiple options.
It's all available. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights on the school and some of your insights on living there in Shenzhen. From here, we did want to share some insights on the network as a whole and some things about participating as part of a large and, as Mark had mentioned, a very stable, very strong organization. So our schools in China are part of the Basic Curriculum Schools Network, broader organization of private schools in the United States as well as international schools in China and Thailand. One of the things that's very unique for us is we are very mission driven. And as part of the mission, we do state that, it's our mission to provide our students with a transformative early childhood and K-12 education with a cutting edge basis curriculum. And in this school, combined with the Chinese national curriculum, to exceptional teaching and faculty mentoring, produce graduates who have broad intellectual capabilities, international perspectives, critical thinking proficiency, and creative problem solving skills to be leaders in their future academic and professional lives. Something that's very unique within our organization is we actually have it built into our mission, is that we're very focused on faculty mentoring. Layla will speak a little bit more to that in a bit, but it's something that is very important to us. One of the promises that we make is that you will be a better teacher by having come and taught with BASIS International Bilingual Schools. And that's something that we really focus on and really look to fulfill as part of our overall mission. Something that is kind of, breaking down the BASIS curriculum, its most simple context, in those early years of grades, K through 4, we're really looking to establish that love of learning. Into the middle school grades, we got to enhance the academic mindset. And then in the high school grades, we're really looking to prepare individuals for a university education at the highest levels and allow them the choice to pursue their interest at the university of their choice. Something that is very unique to the BASIS organization in China is that we do have a partnership with Berkeley. And so we do have a Berkeley partnership through Berkeley Global. It's a distinguished exclusive collaboration that we do have. We do actually teach Berkeley accredited courses at our high schools. As our school in Guangming continues to grow, this is a program that we'll look to have as part of the curriculum and a program there in Guangming. But it's something that is very unique. So in joining BASIS, you're joining a quality organization that has specifically been selected by UC Berkeley to partner with us and be able to share their academic expertise with our students in partnership with our faculty. Something that's very unique across networks and international school networks. In terms of results of what our program does yield, it's been phenomenal results. Over 90% of our graduates have been accepted to top 50 universities around the world. Over 70% have been accepted to top 30 programs, including universities such as Columbia, Cornell, Harvard, MIT, Princeton, Oxford, Stanford, University of Toronto. We've had other arts and design schools like Rhode Island School of Design, also in Chicago. But the students have really been able to pursue, for the most part, universities of choice and where they want to pursue their interest, the specific subject areas of passion and interest, and just phenomenal results in terms of what they've been able to do. One of the things that has also been impressive to me is that, Mark did specifically mention that, through the pandemic, there were groups that maybe had struggled. We came out stronger. We opened up 3 schools. We actually opened up 1 school in 2020 during the pandemic. We then also opened up a school in Chengdu in 2022. We've also opened up our post pandemic school in Wuhan just this year. And in terms of the facilities that our teachers are teaching at, as well as where the students are studying, the facilities are just phenomenal. Not only do we incorporate great learning spaces and environments, but there's just an architectural beauty that you see in our schools that in many cases you don't see in other places, something that's really pretty unique. And the opportunity to join Guangming will include, again, similarly well-designed, great architecture, learning spaces combined with a unique environment that you'll really be pleased to be a part of. With that, I will turn things to Layla. So again, Layla is our team lead of our international recruiting team. So Layla, thanks for being with us, and I will turn things over to you to speak to a little bit more specifics about the teaching.
Thanks so much, Mark, for explaining all about your school. Just a heads up, there was some, not questions, but just some feedback during during and after your presentation. Some very helpful information. Thank you, Mark. And wow, it all sounds very exciting and challenging. That's from Ben and Pamela. So it's definitely, I'm glad that it resonates with you guys, because it really is really is going to be special being part of a founding faculty of a BASIS school. So anyway, just wanted to let you know about that. So I'm just going to go right into it. Teaching with BASIS International and Bilingual Schools. I know Tim and Mark shared a lot already, but a couple additional pieces to share with you. So first of it is going to be professional development. I know Mark mentioned this about the ability to grow, not only within the school, but within the network of BASIS. And that genuinely does ring true. And that stems from our culture of learning, the collaboration that teachers are constantly doing with each other, learning from their peers, learning from multiple different teaching approaches and philosophies, and combining them to start developing your own. We hire extremely strong educators who year over year only become stronger in their craft because of their time with BASIS. And we do tend to promote within. I would say that it is actually pretty common to do so as well. We have a lot of examples of that. It's really exciting. We love it. Academic culture. So Mark actually said it best as well, that the rigor is not extra work, extra hoops to jump through, just harder for the students in general, and with no value to it. It is culture of high expectations, rigor, but the achievements also speak towards that as well. We really do the best we can to make sure that the students are really served well, and that their social emotional needs are met at the same time, to support that rigor that they're going through at the same time, because they will go off majority on their own overseas to go to university, where they will need these social emotional skills to back up their ability to study in MIT, for example, and like Tim just mentioned in the previous slide. So BASIS network, we talked about the brand a little bit. BASIS is growing more and more to become an employer of choice in China. And I don't say that necessarily even as a biased phrase. It actually is something that people have told me, educators, candidates, current teachers, highly respected, constantly growing. We have fully staffed new schools during COVID, even brought teachers to China, retained our teachers very well, and are only coming out stronger after COVID, when unfortunately it did hit a lot of schools very hard. We just are a well-oiled machine, truthfully, and it's a very strong network. And then last but not least, the students. The students are some of the best students you'll probably ever teach. I don't know 90% of the things that the students are talking about in class, but they're so involved in it, and they're so passionate about what they're discussing in the classes. They're truly a joy to teach, and you feel like, you know, your passion as an educator is actually going somewhere with these students. It's really a joy for these teachers. All right, I think we talked about why I teach in China a little bit, so I'm not going to go over it too much. We talked about the convenient modern living. You literally can do everything from your phone. And there are, you know, so many teachers have like more TV channels than I do, even in the US. So you definitely aren't limited like you might think you would be in China, essentially. Cutting edge technology, it's really, really modern in China. Education is valued. This one's really important. As a teacher, you want to be somewhere where you're valued as an educator. In China, this rings true, and it especially is true in a basis school. China has a really, really great culture. I just went to China last month, and I can tell you that it's just amazing. We sat there and watched this drumming performance at the opening ceremony, and everybody was just in awe of what we were watching. It's so beautiful and magical, and thousands of years of history in this country, and it's so great to be part of that with the backing of that convenience and modern living as well. And then in Shenzhen, all the kinds of foods and stuff that you normally like and have access to still. Cost of living is in China. So many teachers love to teach in China because it is very easy to save. The cost of living is really low, actually. So a lot of teachers are supporting a spouse and 2 kids as an educator with basis even, and some teachers save enough to, you know, send back home for whatever purposes they need it for. But it is really, really great quality of life, where back home in the US, for example, teachers can struggle day in and day out. They have to spend their own money on pencils for their class and stuff, and that's just not the experience of the teachers in China. Expat package. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions about what are the benefits of basis. Well, we do have a very comprehensive benefits package. I'll run through a couple of them briefly. So your airfare to China will be covered for you. They'll also support your spouse and up to 2 dependents. And then we call it repatriation flight, essentially. So like after your contract, they also get your flight to go to your next destination. Relocation assistance, moving allowance, an annual return home allowance. This is or travel allowance. You can essentially just use that money to, if you want to go visit home every year or travel, explore China, explore the world. A lot of our teachers do go explore the world a little bit more, which is really great too. Fully paid furnished housing. So your salary is your salary. None of that is going to be then to pay for any kind of rent, essentially. And in Guangming, they have school provided housing for you, fully furnished, and HR does really great job at preparing everything for you, that like all the main essentials. And then they'll take you to like stores to help you purchase additional materials that you might need in your home. Global health coverage. This covers the very nice private hospitals in China. And as a bonus, it also includes health coverage in the US for American citizens, which is pretty rare actually to find. If you have children, we'll cover free tuition for up to 2 children. We do offer a retirement bonus annually. We do offer completion bonuses. And then we talked about opportunities for transfer and advancement. So requirements, we do require a degree in the subject that you will be teaching. For a math teacher, that means a degree in math related field. For a primary teacher, that means an elementary or early learning or primary, something like that. Different countries call them different things, but a primary education degree or childhood development. That is required. That is why basis is what we are, because we have subject experts teaching the content to our students. 24 months of full-time consecutive teaching experience. This is lead classroom in-class teaching experience, non-inclusive of summer break. So what that means is that in most cases, it will be more than 2 academic years in order to then apply for that visa, so that they have the number of months experience behind that to apply. Of course, passion for teaching, of course, passion for your subject. The students feed off of your passion for your subject. Willingness to collaborate with other teachers at your school. This is not a place where you go in and close your door and kind of sit by yourself throughout the day. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's just not the culture of BASIS. Someone who sets high academic standards for their students. Like Mark was saying, a desire to make a difference in these kids. That's the main goal. We aren't going to lie that, you know, it is hard work as a BASIS teacher, and we're not going to pretend that it's not, but it is incredibly rewarding, and our teachers genuinely love being at school and doing this work because it's just so rewarding. Ability to engage young minds. They are, you know, thinking of sixth graders learning physics, they are still sixth graders. So you do need to be able to have these like really great classroom management skills, as well as be able to engage the students. And there are some current visa restrictions. Those are going to be on a case-by-case basis that you can talk to your recruiter about in more depth. Do this briefly as well. So like Mark said, the school's bilingual or international. They have mostly local Chinese students. It's just that an international school, they happen to have some sort of foreign passport that enables them to enroll in the international school. And the bilingual school, those students do not have an international passport. And there's not going to be much difference to the teacher when comparing the two schools in the environments. It's fairly similar to each other. So English is a second language for nearly all our students, but the language of instruction is in English. Flexibility is important, as we talked about, rapidly growing. And this one is really, really important. And again, us recruiters can talk to you in more depth about this when you have conversations with us. If you have accompanying children coming with you, it is imperative to make sure that they are ready for BASIS curriculum, for BASIS education. That is, it's not for everyone. You know, you take a 13-year-old and place them in a BASIS classroom where the students have been learning high-level content of maths and sciences, and it becomes really difficult for that kid, and nobody wants to see that. Again, this is a case-by-case basis that we can discuss, but I always like to make sure people know that ahead of time. So before we go to the Q&A, just briefly, visit our career site. All of BASIS Bilingual Guangming Shenzhen's positions are currently posted online. Please submit an application. We'll review and reach out to you if you are applicable to one of our positions. You can also read our blogs page. There's a lot of content out there about various different topics. Pretty fascinating information. I highly recommend. We also have YouTube, which similar to blogs, but obviously in video form. And then join our interest list. If there isn't a position right now that suits you, or you're looking for something else, or you want to know for future opportunities, 2025, 26, join our interest list and you'll receive updates about new jobs posted, news about BASIS, blogs, things like that. So yeah, that is about it. I see what here already we have a few questions, but is there any other info, Tim, that you wanted to add?
One small thing that is actually quite unique, it's not considered typically part of like the typical benefits package, but a lot of times people ask is that one thing that is unique with our network in China is that you can actually send a percentage of your salary back to your home country as part of your payroll direct deposit. And so again, you can send a percentage of your salary back to your home country bank, take care of, you know, bills or whatever in your home country. You don't have to go to the bank. You have to sit through the international transfer process, but that's something that is fairly unique to our schools. It makes, you know, living abroad very easy and be able to just have, you know, funds transferred to your home account. Very simple. So just wanted to mention that as well as kind of a side benefit. Great. So I did notice we had some questions come in. Layla, if you want to maybe run through some of those questions that did come, and Mark, if you want to join back in, I'm sure there'll be some questions that will be great for you to answer.
It's funny, there's not necessarily like questions, just like a lot of people are really excited about what we have to say. So thank you. The last one is, oh, tuition's free for children. That's very cool. Yeah, it is. It's free for two children per individual teacher and 3 children per teaching couple. So yeah, I think there was another. Hearing all of this, I'm thrilled to join your team. Well, we're thrilled to receive your application. Hope to see your application come through. I have a question here. Do you offer some online professional development courses or certificates for those teachers who may want to qualify to teach at Basis International Schools, like unique to Basis?
So are they asking if before they join Basis?
That's what I would assume. I read that as prior to getting a position with Basis. Do we offer some kind of professional development for teachers who aspire to be a Basis teacher someday, who maybe doesn't have the experience yet?
We don't offer anything like that. Once somebody does join us, we have pretty extensive opportunities for our teachers to learn and grow. One of the programs that we've worked with pretty extensively in Hangzhou, and I'm gonna not get the acronym correct. It's like the PCGE, but the one for international schools, it's a British certification. And we've had a number of our teachers do that certification process while they're already here.
Will Basis prefer both husband and wife working as teachers?
We want the best quality teachers possible. If that's a couple teaching a teaching couple, awesome. If it is one spouse who is the teacher and the other spouse, sometimes people will do things online, with their profession. Sometimes they just like, oh, I'm going to be the house husband or something like that. And it's like, finally, I get to do this. That's fine with us. We want the best quality teachers, and they come in all shapes and sizes and backgrounds.
Yeah, I'll add to that we do love many of our teaching couples. Again, sometimes we can be fairly selective, so we really do look for great teachers. If both teachers really are a great fit for Basis, we'd love to have teaching couples.
Yeah, and with the teaching couples, one thing to add, all the benefits are done per teacher, if you will, with the exception of the tuition remission for your children. So it's double the flights for returning home. It's double the contract completion bonus. It's double the retirement bonus. So all of those things are doubled.
I have another question here related to professional development, a similar question, but just added information. Professional development, do you assist teachers with university programs such as Masters in Education?
Yes, we have a tuition credit program. It's much more generous when you sign your second contract with us. Where if you're looking to come and get your master's degree free, and then go on to someplace else, it might not be the best setup. But if you want to come and really commit, there's some increasingly generous reimbursement packages as you sign additional contracts with us. And with the PCGE or the EPCGE or whatever it is out of Great Britain, your school has to be on board with you when you do those programs. And I was a mentor for somebody doing it when I was vice head of school in Hangzhou, because I think they're supposed to have a doctorate and be at a certain level within the organization. So if you were interested in doing that, we would certainly facilitate that as much as we could. We want you to get better at your craft.
Is the IB curriculum experience preferred? That's a really great question.
Yeah, we want the best possible teachers we can find. And part of that comes with some cross-pollination. We have a pretty well-developed curriculum that takes bits and pieces from a lot of different approaches to education. Part of that is IB. We are not an IB school, and we don't pretend to be an IB school. And we have some very successful teachers in the basis program who came from years and years of experience of IB. So as long as you are open to how we approach things, I think the IB curriculum and background can be fantastic. You know, for example, our ECE program is highly influenced by the Reggio Emilia approach to education. It is very much in the Reggio spirit. Is it completely Reggio? No, but it's pretty good. I would put our ECE program against anybody in the world. And also our early primary is, you know, gradually moving out of that to more, you know, the project-based, more of the what you might call a traditional approach to education. But again, taking things from the play-based experiential Reggio program and Common Core, some IB stuff, and putting it all together and saying what's going to work best for us in our time right here now moving forward.
There's people asking about the specific country they come from and if they're applicable to apply with BASIS. Anyone is welcome to apply for BASIS. We're looking for teachers that have I'll say majority of our teachers do have master's degrees or higher. So the education, like your subject expertise is what we're looking for. Your teaching experience. We do prefer teachers who have experience teaching in an international environment, something with American curriculum, British curriculum, something like that will transition well to a BASIS school. And yeah, what I'll say is we look for the teacher that is best fit and most qualified for that position. So hope that answered everybody's questions that were asking about your specific nationality. What is the length of the contract? Great question.
Yeah, we most of our teachers have a 3-year contract. Our managers, like myself, I just signed a 5-year contract because we really believe what is best for a school is for teachers to live and grow over a period of time within a school and to have consistent leadership within the school and within the network. So most of our teachers will be a 3-year contract. We do offer a 2-year contract, but if you you know, talk with the Bose team and go over some of those things, it's clear that our 3-year contracts are much more attractive than the 2-year, because we want teachers who are committed over a period of time. This isn't someone's here for a year. It's like, oh, I'll go try Thailand or I'll go try Cambodia. That's awesome places to go, but we really value professional teachers who are really on board.
I'm currently teaching the American curriculum in Bahrain, but I don't have a master's degree. I'm looking to do my master's. I hope to be eligible. Yeah, to clarify about most of our teachers have master's degrees. That is true, yes, but just a bachelor's degree is the minimum requirement. So I wouldn't discourage anybody from applying if they do not have anything higher than a bachelor's degree. you are still applicable for a position with Basis and the visa, the work visa, work permit, everything like that. Mark, Tim, any last comments from you guys?
Yeah, thank you for putting the webinar together. And thank you everyone for attending. And we're just happy you attended. And we look forward to your application. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Bose team. Brittany will be the person who will lead the search for us and connect with you. When in doubt, ask, and hopefully you apply. It's better to apply and learn more about us than, you know, wait a year and say, maybe I should have applied. It's not going to hurt to send an email and say, let's have the initial conversation. We'd love to talk to you.
And with that, again, thank you for joining us today. Mark, thank you so much for sharing insights about this wonderful new school that you're going to have. We're really excited to see what you'll be creating as the newest school in Shenzhen.